All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Dakisha Williams, your webinar strategist and business strategist. And today we're going to talk about three key areas or three key things that you would use a virtual event to close high ticket client. Now, I always like to clarify what I mean by a virtual event. Because a lot of people are just accustomed to having large conferences and things like that. So, a virtual event could be a summit, which I love to do every single quarter. A virtual event could be a masterclass. For me, a masterclass is more of a 2 to 4 hour training, um, where you dive deeper in the material versus what you hear me talk about a lot of the times when we talk about using a webinar to grow your business. So a lot of times people ask me, well, what's the difference between a webinar and a masterclass? And then boot camps. Boot camps can be virtual events. Some people like to do their boot camps in person. What other type of virtual events? We have workshops. A lot of people like to do workshops that are 2 4 hours, maybe 2 day workshops. So all of these can classify as a virtual event. Now, this is something that I have done and tested over the last 7 or 8 years. Now, mind you, I always talk about using webinars in your business. Cool. But every now and then, when you do a webinar, we also like for people to be able to talk back and forth, right? And so we like for people to be able to, answer questions, fill out worksheets or things like that, instead of it always just being me presenting in front of the class and then no one's really responding back. They might be responding via the chat, but nobody's really responding back, and you feel like you're not really having a conversation. And so a lot of times the masterclass, the boot camps, the virtual events, they have a tendency to convert higher and for higher ticket items, only because you now have that interaction where it's a two-way interaction versus a one-way interaction, right? So one of the first things that I did realize when we started hosting virtual events, and I was doing them long before the pandemic. I think one of my first summits was probably about 9 years ago. And I can't remember. I think it was I Am My Priority Summit. Okay. So, and again, one of the top reasons that I did that, it was low overhead. I mean, the only thing that I really had to pay for was to upgrade my Zoom account in order for me to have more than 100 participants on my Zoom account. Whereas now, there are several different platforms where you can purchase, and you can host a summit on things like AirMeet, or what is the other one? It's like oh, I can't think about it. It starts with the H. Some of y'all might know what it is, but a lot of people may use that one as well to host their virtual events, right? Um, so low overhead. Number two, you have more of an intimate setting when you do a master class. So sometimes people like to do their master class where it's like 25, 50 people, where when you are virtual, you can break them up into small groups. Unless you're doing an in-person retreat, you can make a virtual event very intimate. You can make it to the point where the host can actually spend time with groups of 5, groups of 7, where they actually get to interact with you. Whereas if you're at a conference with 600, 800 to 1,000 people, you can forget interacting or engaging with the host. Like, let's be real. I went to a conference not too long ago, and it was like 800 something people in that room. I just tried to say hello to the host, and they just, unfortunately, that's not what they're there for. They are there to teach. They are there to, I hate to say it, but close more deals, and close their high ticket event. So when you have that large of an audience, you really can't build a personal connection with your audience. I mean, it's no shade, you do what works best for you. And I am not knocking you based on which platform you want to use. However, when I started out on this entrepreneurial journey, I was not in a position where I could travel and speak frequently because I had 2 younger children. Well, fast forward 12 years later, those bad boys, those jokers are, they're on their own. And so I'm in a different position now where I could actually do more live events, do more speaking engagement outside of a virtual environment. However, I made most of my money hosting virtual events. So that's what we're going to teach on February the 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to share the link with you if you would like to get registered to hang out with us for about 3 hours, where I teach you how I have been able to build my list, my email list, probably over 3,000 minimum, just by hosting consistent virtual events. And so, not to go into it now, but we're going to show you how to pick your speakers, like how to find the right speakers if you're hosting a summit, how to market that summit, how to position that summit if that's something that you want to do, so that you can get people into your pipeline, because that's really what it's all about. What are you currently doing in order to get people into your pipeline, into your ecosystem? If you are not marketing your brand, marketing your programs, your services, what are you doing to get people to create their awareness? Like, what are you doing so people that know that you exist? Like, you have to sit back and you really have to assess that, because if you're just waiting for somebody to knock on your virtual door, you can keep waiting on that. All right. So we are doing a special class February the 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will put the link. You can hit me in my DM wherever you are watching this video on. If you are watching the replay, if you watch it with me live, I'll make sure the link goes either in the comments, or if you hit me up in the DM, we'll make sure that we send you the link as well. And so, all right. So no, set number 2 was the intimate setting. So being able to, to be able to teach in a small environment. A lot of people are more intimidated with asking questions when they're in like a larger environment. Especially if you got to walk up to the mic and say, "Hello, my name is Dakisha, and this is my question." Right? Some people are going to do it. Some people are not. It just all depends on person's preference, and that's fine. Whereas if you are in a small, intimate room and there's like maybe 15, 20 people, you might type it in the chat, or you might DM the host versus standing up in front of an audience and asking your question. I'm just saying, all right? I might be wrong, and to each his own. And then the last thing that I love about virtual events, this is how I actually was able to get my first international client. And that's because I was always marketing my business, and I was able to serve clients in Canada, in South Africa, and I didn't have to travel there. I didn't have to pay for a flight to go there in order to get that client. So virtual events for me have literally helped me set the foundation in my business. And yes, we host live events, but throughout the year, I'm doing everything as much as I possibly can. I am going to do it virtual. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If it were not for my clients, to be very, very transparent. If it were not for my clients asking to come and be in the space with myself and the tribe, I probably would still be hosting virtual events from the comfort of my home. I'm not gonna even lie. It was my tribe who actually said to me, "Dakisha, we want to come and we want to do something together." I was like, Lord have mercy. How much is this gonna cost me? Okay. But excuse me, I will not lie. The first year I did a live event was the first year that we kicked over 6 figures in our business. Now that's not to say that we haven't done $25,000 in 2 days just by hosting a virtual event. So, and that's one of the reasons why it's really near and dear for me, because I was that parent who wasn't able to travel, to grow her business, because my kids came first. Period, point blank. And so I decided, and let me see if I can grab the link real quick. I said, well, listen, I am going to give back. I'm going to teach people how I was able to build my business using virtual events. And I'm going to teach them, I'm going to walk them through exactly step by step what I did in order to host these quarterly. Now I host these events every single quarter. Last year was a little bit different because, like I said, mom was sick. I just came from seeing mom too. She's a mess, but mom was sick, and so I wasn't able to do as much. But we were able to do our live event last year. So I was pretty impressed about that. All right, so I'm going to post a link hopefully on one of these platforms so that you guys can get it. But like I said, so what did I say? February the 9th. It's a Thursday, I believe. It's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to spend 3 hours together. The basic registration is like $47. Now, if you want the SOP, which is like a 20 to 25 page document that I actually mapped out my entire process. So what I do is I'll do a summit, right? And once I determine what the theme of the summit is supposed to be, I pass it over to the team. I really don't have to do anything but show up and teach on the day of the event. So what I did was I created a standard operations procedures guide, and it tells them step by step what they need to do. First time ever, I'm actually selling it. All right. I don't normally sell it. I normally give it to the people that are in my coaching program or in our mastermind. But because you make the investment in the masterclass, we are going to be selling the SOP. And then there's a higher level that if you want us to produce your summit, then you have the opportunity to do that. If you have more questions about that, again, just send me a message on the platform that you are watching this video from, and I'll be more than excited. Myself or someone from the team will be more than excited to help you on this journey of hosting virtual events to closing more high ticket clients. So with that being said, my name is Dakisha Williams, your virtual COO webinar strategist and business strategist. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable. I'll see you guys next time.